Okay, listen up. I'm Alex, and this is First Five, where I ask if games are worth your time, not your money. I played a game for 5 hours, and I'm going to tell you if those were 5 hours well spent. Today, we're breaking every rule of pool in Pool Panic. Pool Panic bills itself as the world's least accurate pool simulator, and that couldn't be a more accurate tagline. Right up front, if you're interested in this game because you like pool, you're going to be sorely disappointed with it. Pool Panic isn't a pool game, but rather a game about throwing the basic mechanics of pool into as many interesting situations as possible. And I mean only the absolute basics. You have a cue ball, you have to sink all the other balls on the table, the 8 ball must be sunk last, and you do that by knocking your cue ball into them like in pool. But that's where the pool ends. Immediately, the game starts breaking the illusion that this is going to be a game that actually reflects pool. Balls constantly move around of their own accord, dodge shots that you make on them, become temporarily immovable, straight up charge your cue ball, and in one instance, even started climbing back out of the pocket I'd sunk them in. And in return, you get to break the rules your own way by picking up and moving the cue ball wherever the heck you want, whenever you want. It took me a long time to wrap my head around this. Despite the many ways in which Pool Panic is definitely not anything like pool, I still tried to play it like it was anyway. Which isn't helped by the fact that the game still encourages you to play that way. Pool Panic gives medals for finishing a level quickly, beating a par for the number of shots to complete it, sinking every ball, and never getting a scratch. There's no reward for getting these medals, or any punishment for failing to, but they offer less than subtle suggestions as to how the developer wants you to play. In particular, the par for shots and the medal for never getting a scratch encourage careful, strategic play in the vein of an actual game of pool. But as I've already covered, that's not at all what Pool Panic wants to be when half the time you try to maneuver a ball into position to sink into a pocket just for it to pick up and walk away. Strategic this game is not. And breaking from the game's encouragement to play it that way was the first step to actually finding enjoyment in it. Which brings me to the crux of my review. Pool Panic isn't a very fun or engaging game to play, but it is an extremely fun game to explore. Like, check this out. Air hockey, but instead of playing the normal way, you have to move your paddle by shooting it around like a pool ball, which leads to a hilariously inept game of struggling against your own controls. Or this beautiful nonsense of a motorcycle chase where you have to shoot yourself from bike to bike. How about a throwback to Jezball? How about a zombie survival level that suddenly introduces an ammo conservation mechanic? When Pool Panic abandons all pretense of being even remotely about pool, it shines. It's in these moments when it slaps together its basic pool mechanics with an entirely different game with reckless abandon that Pool Panic finally clicks. And honestly, I think the game needed more of that reckless abandon, because the longer a limb Pool Panic goes out on, the more fun this game is. And it left me always wondering what other crazy shit it would try to do next. Pool Panic's overworld map is similarly great at building that sense of anticipation and curiosity. It's quirky, colorful, and the way it shuttles you from area to area always gave me glimpses of new regions I was instantly curious about. Unfortunately, the rest of Pool Panic's aesthetic was less enjoyable. In particular, Pool Panic's audioscape is exceptionally awful. There's a song that plays every time you finish a level that was so obnoxious that I muted all of the game's music just so I didn't have to hear it every 3 minutes. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Pool Panic's screaming, sobbing balls quickly grew equally grating, and by the end of my first hour with Pool Panic, I was playing the game on mute and just put my own music on. On that note, let's get to the verdict. I'm a bit bummed that this is the 3rd week in a row I'm talking about a game that's just kind of average, but I'm happy that this is one I can at least recommend. It comes with all the caveats I've already mentioned, but Pool Panic's manic, ridiculous highs are good enough to recommend wading through its lows. That said, I'm not enjoying the moment-to-moment gameplay enough to go back and try to get any of those medals. Once you've run out of new levels to discover, there's not much in the game's core loop to keep you around to try and master it. And that brings me back to what I said before. Pool Panic is most fun when you stop trying to play it and start exploring it. Which sounds weird, I know, but all of this game's strengths lie in its sense of exploration. While the standard gimmickless levels never really gripped me, the rest of the game is constantly one-upping itself in the crazy department, and I was always curious as to how it would try to do so next. Likewise, the map constantly had me hungry to know what was over the next hill, what might be in that neighboring city, and what the hell that giant cake was about. And if any of the wacky stuff I've highlighted has you similarly curious, it might be worth picking this one up. Hey, do you believe that your time is the most valuable thing you have? Do you want to find more games that respect that time? This channel is all about finding games that don't pad themselves and can be completed in a reasonable amount of time. So if that sounds appealing to you, then consider hitting that subscribe button. But regardless, thanks for watching this far, and I'll see you all next week.